Hey everyone, this is Faye Enigma. I wanted to read from my blog. This one actually isn't Insane Journal, it's from Xanga. It's one of the more original posts that I published there. It was shortly after I rejoined, after taking a hiatus. It was done September 27th of 2011. So it's a couple years old now. Kind of sad. Xanga seems like it's just vanished from the face of the internet. There's only a handful of people who are actively posting there now. My subscription list was probably 50 or more, and I only see a couple people posting on my newsfeed. I wanted to say I fractured my ankle last night. My husband's air freshener can attacked me. Yeah. So I'm a little bit of a space cadet, having a little bit of trouble focusing. The pain is actually pretty excruciating. So, with that said, I'm just going to jump right in. Subject title is Little Struggles. Rest seems to be evading me at an ever-quickening pace. I feel as though I can reach out and snatch it, but it flits away and fills my ears with this mocking laughter that sets my teeth on edge. It was so close. I mentioned in a previous entry, daily for September 26th to be exact, that I tend to go through certain stages of being haunted. During these times, sleep becomes harder and harder to attain, and my thoughts run wild, bouncing mercilessly on the inside of my skull like 1,000 of those super bouncy balls shot out of a cannon. The headache that ensues, that I endure, is this onslaught of sleepless nights, and a brain that has this awful habit of dissecting every memory, every move, every sensation I've encountered in my 24 years. Reader's note, I will be 26 years old this September. Every mistake, every failure, every triumph, what few there are. Things that I should have done, things that I knowingly can't go back and change, things that have been said. I could go on for an eternity, but for now, I'd just like to address a few of my struggles. My biggest struggles are failure, guilt, letting go, and purpose. Failure. Now that I put more thought into the emotions I feel during failure, I'm discovering I don't even have to actually fail to experience failure. I acknowledge that my expectations of myself are entirely too high, but at the same time I am able, perhaps unwilling, to lower them to a standard more appropriate of that to a mortal being. Not that I think that I'm some kind of goddess, I just have a do-all mentality that I originally began when I was very young. I realize that I take on too much responsibility, other people's responsibility, trying to be a peacekeeper, trying to afford happiness. I don't like conflict or discord, and the people around me are only too accommodating to unload their burdens. Even knowing that I'm doing my utmost best, when things crumble, I feel at fault, and I fall into that chasm of self-blame. When my broken body breaks, and when it breaks down from overuse and exertion, I feel as though I've failed because the tasks that I've laid out before myself are incomplete. When I'm unable to perform a simple everyday task, it's an awful sensation. When I'm unable to do so, failure and frustration, they just give me this ominous and sinking feeling that quickly suffers depression. Lately, I feel as though I've been struggling with my marriage. We aren't fighting. We've never had any real fighting in the 11 years that we've known each other. We've been very fortunate. But I feel as though I'm failing to make him happy. He tries to reassure my doubts, tells me I'm a wonderful wife and that I see to his every possible need. But there are some seeds of insecurity on the matter. I won't delve too deeply into our personal affairs, but it's a concern to me that I may not be proving my love in an adequate fashion. Guilt. Guilt has always been a struggle. It has always had an unnatural pull over me. I have an extremely high guilt complex, and again, I don't have to do anything to feel guilty. Purchasing something for myself can cause guilt, even if it's something I desperately need. I always think that insert sum of money here could have brought this or that or something else for the household's benefit instead. Guilt washes over me just like failure does. It provides that same aura of defeat. I guess in so many ways I always feel like I'm in the wrong despite knowing I've done nothing to make things wrong. It's very easy to throw me on a guilt trip, and it's a tactic that's used entirely too much by other people to take advantage of my giving nature. Letting go. I do not have a strong point when it comes to goodbyes to the past. I live by the forgive but not forget rule, and while I do not often keep grudges, I do relive situations in stunning clarity. There are some wrongs that have been done to me that are just as vivid to me today as they were when they happened. There are some wrongs that I have done that dreaded guilt just keeps ignited like a bonfire, never letting those embers of those proverbial destruction cool or go dark. They are forever naked and bare in that fiery light on my soul for every demon's judgment, and I'm unable to extinguish the searing flames and let go. On the subject of releasing, I'm sure much of my heavy heart comes from the rapid approach of the holidays. I do go through the holiday blues. I have ever since my grandparents have become deceased. They made every holiday, every special occasion, a learning experience. And with their birthdays in the mix as well, my grandfather was actually born on Christmas Day. Until the age of 25, he believed with his entire being that he was a gift from Santa Claus. It's a difficult transition. I aspire to hold dear every possible memory I have of them and treasure them for as long as forever will allow. I try very hard to keep the good times within reach of my memory, to alight my lips with a smile that they so loved. During this time frame, though I continue to smile for them as I reminisce, my eyes lose some of the joy and pour crystalline drops of wretched grief. Purpose. This one is a little difficult for me to explain. I need a sense of purpose in my life. I need to be doing something with my hands, doing something to contribute, doing something. I clean the house, do mundane chores, in more repetition than I'd like to admit, both due to obsessive compulsive disorder and the constant mess in the house. I cook for 8 to 9 people. I mean, these things do give me a sense of purpose. I don't enjoy the slave-like treatment by my in-laws, but it gives me something to look forward to each day, even if that something is a destroyed home and ungrateful people to provide for. I've been struggling a bit with failure, guilt, release, and purpose. Much of it has to do with the incredible strain and tension in the house, but another struggle entering my life is replacement. I feel like an ancient appliance, a robot, if you will. I'm outdated, I'm broken, and just like everything else in this house, including the house itself, I've been used until deemed unusable anymore and discarded. I have a slew of insubstantial and irrational fears that, until I became so acquainted with my in-laws, I never had the displeasure of greeting before. I cling desperately to my uncanny ability to deal with catastrophes, but I will be the first to admit that I have no grace whatsoever when it comes to small problems, for the simple fact that the teeny tiny issues stack up so quickly. I've been condemned by myself for how I deal with those teeny tiny issues, but I've been commended on my outward tranquility and poise in the face of danger. I've been rebuked for my lacking sense when I drop something on the floor because it's so trivial it reduces me to hysterical tears. Thank you for taking the time. Time is so very precious. To either read or watch this video. It's either inane babble from a sleep-deprived mind that's just starting to feel a wee bit insane.